All right, guys, I think we're on here. Just give me a second. We're going live for the podcast. So it says we're live. We're ready to rock here. I just want to make sure I get confirmation and we're good to go. Everyone, welcome. This is Dr. Vic, and you are on our YouTube live listening to the Mindful Experiment as we dive deep in today, all about resetting your vibes, right? Let's face it, the stock never constantly goes up forever. Life is never always on a high. There's things in life that you are always going to face, and there's sometimes you get those dark moments. Sometimes you just get a dark moment after a dark moment after a dark moment after a dark moment after a dark moment. And you're just like, come on, God, come on, Allah, come on, whatever you believe in, however the title is, to give me a break. I just need a break, right? And we get in these ruts, and these ruts really play a huge role on us. And then all of a sudden, sometimes it lasts as a week, sometimes it lasts as a month, sometimes it slips in and out for years. And I've experienced all variations of this to where, you get into these moments, and then later down the road, you're kind of like, how did I get here? What made me get to this point? How did I miss the boat here? And so the interesting thing is that, what can you do in life to truly reset that? What is it in life that you can do to truly help you get back to being grounded, get back to being focused, get back to being on purpose, and truly allow you to thrive the way you're naturally designed to? So in this podcast, this is going to be a nice one that I wanted to share, nice, quick, and easy. One of the things that I do that I have noticed that has worked, and I've shared this a lot with people, is you got to remember your why again. So like, let's say you're in a rut because of business or a career, and you're missing the boat and things haven't been going well, and it's not going to what your expectations have been, what you set for yourself, and so forth. Well, it's like Viktor Frankl said, understand knowing your why overcomes any how. And when you understand your why, and getting back to that, why do you do what you do? Why do you wake up in the morning, right? What gets you going? Okay. Is it fear or is it a passion? You got to decipher between the two. Clarity on your vision is going to be one of the greatest things I can ever express to any human being, because vision is everything. Vision to me is like having a GPS system. If you have clarity of your vision, you have a GPS of where you want to go. And so when it comes to those dark times, in business, because if I'm just going business first, those are things that you have to reset, recalibrate, break out, get rid of the ego, and really start to focus on you, the individual of you. Understand, okay, what's the biggest reason why? What's my vision? Why am I doing this? And what's the importance behind it? Now, when it comes to like life in general, I mean, there's things that are going to show up. But the thing is not to resist it. Right? Because a lot of times when we have dark moments and challenging moments in our life, the first thing we want to do is we want to resist. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. Something happens, it's like, and you want to all of a sudden just get into this whole massive resistance. And resistance will always allow things to persist. You give it energy, it lets it thrive, it grows more, and all those fun things. So when it comes to that whole purpose of resistance, it's one of those things that you got to let go, right? Get into flow. What does that all mean? 1 second here. And it's one of those things where, understanding that this is here for a reason. It's here to teach me something. It's here to let me learn about something. So for me, I need to take a step back and realize what this is going to be here for. Right? It's all getting back to grounding yourself and understanding that purpose and meaning behind it. And once you start to see that nothing's really going against you, it's all here to help you. Once you start to realize that there's not a reason or a purpose behind struggles and those types of things. And when it comes to resetting those vibes, one of the things that from a personal perspective, do something fun, do something exciting, right? Something different. When's the last time you had fun? When's the last time you took time for yourself? When's the last time you took moments to reset, right? Those are things that can really help with a reset and allow you to thrive, get a chance to see the reasons behind why you feel that way, see the purpose behind all that, and allow you to step up to the next level. Sometimes it could be reading a great book. something that's inspiring. Sometimes it's watching a great motivational video. Sometimes it could just be, XYZ. It's different for everybody, but it's the purpose of getting back to just taking a break from whatever it is that you've been experiencing. How to reset? How to rebuild your energy back up? How do you take time for you? Those are the things that you want to, focus on no matter what's going on in your life. For me, that's something I had to learn, and I'm not one that does that. If you guys have known me over this time, if you've been following me since day one on my podcast, you'll understand that I'm not the type of person that just kind of just says, oh, I'm going to rest here today. It's like, nope, I do my stuff every morning to get me prepped for the day, and I got things to do. I got a lot of stuff that I want to create, a lot of content, things that I'm going to be creating and sharing, and so much more. So it's one of those things where I had to learn over time, many burnouts, just to put in perspective of how this continues in my life, to get to the point where I was like, okay, I need to reset. I need to take time for me, because this is what is critical that I need to do for myself. And the moment I started doing that, it felt weird. I started judging. I started saying I'm wasting time. And it took some time to really start to understand the criticalness behind that. It really took some time to understand the importance of taking time for yourself, having fun, getting out of the mold, stop doing all the things you normally do, stop taking life so seriously, because it's really, really critical on all those levels. And it's one of those things where you can look at life in a perspective and say, okay, how can I have more fun? What are the things I can do? So when you're in those ruts, those low times, you got to look at that. But the second thing is you want to make sure that you're looking at what's the reason behind it and understanding the depth of it. What were you allowing? What have you gotten away from? What are the things that were uplifting you and energizing you, your mind and your body? It could be working out. It could be meditation. It could be breath works. It could be spending time with loved ones and families and friends who you appreciate and love. It could be doing the things that are beneficial to you. How much of that have you neglected? Because a lot of times when it comes to being in ruts, I've noticed for myself, I've let go of things that I should have been doing that actually helps me thrive and be better. I've started pulling away, creating excuses, saying I don't have time, giving all these stories up. And I don't know if you've been there. I know I have. I become a really good storyteller all of a sudden when I'm like in a rut. Oh, I don't feel like doing this. I'm not here. And it's like, oh, poor me party. And it's one of those things where I have to get myself out of that to really thrive to that higher level, to say, hey, let me get back to where I'm at. And it takes, sometimes it may, the longer you're in a rut, the harder it is to get out of it. It's like the deeper the hole you build for yourself, you keep digging, the harder it is to come out of that. So one of the things is that, going back to what are the things that help energize and vitalize you? What are the things that are going to help inspire you in some way? The last thing I wanted to share, is that for me, when I get into ruts, when I get into these types of things, this is going to sound dark and gloomy, but I think of death. I think of the moment when I'm not going to be here anymore. I think of the time where I'm not going to exist here from a physical standpoint. I think about it often. And the reason why I do that, though, is because no matter how I feel, no matter how frustrated I am, no matter how angry I am, no matter what, that for some reason puts me in check. That for some reason will change the ballgame. So then all of a sudden in my mind, I'll start to be like, okay, what do I have to do to keep prolonging my health? What are the things I have to do to keep thriving? I have a lot to share in this world. There's a lot that I want to do. And it gets me back on my purpose. And I've said this before about vision, but this is how I reconnect my vision back and start saying, okay, what is it that I really want to do? What is the purpose I really want to have here and focus on? And how am I going to use this in my life to thrive? And when I start to get there, that's when all of a sudden things change. That's when I start to get out of that rut and I get back to being inspired. And over time, I've learned how to catch these things faster and faster. And I'll talk about these things in some upcoming podcasts and so forth. But it's one of those things in your life that, we all get into these things from time to time again. And they're going to keep coming. They're not going away. I wrote a book on this, A Walk in the Dark. It's all about facing the darkness that's going to continually come at you no matter what. It's part of life. It's part of the journey. It's the thing that you signed up for. But the key thing out of that is, what can you do to allow you to, reset those vibes? And the reason why you always want to be resetting your vibes and being conscious of this is because the higher your vibration is, the more you're going to align to what it is you desire. And that's going to create a magnetic force to attract the things that you look for to experience, no matter what that is: business, money, health, mental health, new friends, a new partner, a better marriage, whatever it may be, or a marriage in general. Those are the things that when you're vibing high, that's going to be a massive shift. So to kind of recap from everything that I shared here, the first things first is, understand your why. What, in anything, whatever it is, even in marriage, sometimes people get ruts in marriages and then they forget how long it's been since the last time they had fun, and they don't hold up themselves accountable to the date nights they're supposed to do. These are those things that I talk about where you got to keep doing what works. You got to keep energizing that relationship. You got to keep putting into it. That's what energizes a relationship. If it comes to finances, same thing. How are you energizing your finances? Are you focusing on them? Are you living within your means? Are you putting them on away for savings? Are you investing your money to help you create a bigger nest later down the road? What's the energy you keep putting into it? When we get into these ruts, like in relationships, it happens to people. We stop doing things that are fun. We don't focus on date night. We don't take time to appreciate the person that we're with. We don't tell them how much that we love them, how beautiful they are. We don't take the time to dial ourselves up to go out on a date night and have fun with it. We miss the most critical things that help us keep moving forward. Remembering that we're a team, not something that's separate. Same thing in finances. Is, just like in health. Finances and health are very similar. And it's the continual work that you do on your finances that determines your financial health later down the road. Same thing with health. The more continually things you do for your health is going to help you down the road. And so it's getting back to that purpose, getting back to that vision, understanding the whys of why you do that. Why do you wake up? Why is it important for you to do this? Why do you do that? For me, I wake up, I get my mindset going on right, because for me, I have, just like anybody else, I have a battle in my mind. It's the biggest battleground I have. It's the biggest battle that I ever face every single day. And for me, I'm just looking for a small victory. For me, I just need to know that every time I wake up, I do my breath work, my meditations, I do some affirmations, I'll listen to some things to get me in a state to be ready for today. And then I start my plan of attack of how I'm going to take on the day. What are the things I need to do, and so much more. When I don't do those things, which is now for 2.5 years, I have not missed. But when I don't do those things before in the past, I would wonder why months down the road I get into a rut. Same thing with working out. I have a plan of action throughout the week of when I'm going to get my workouts in. They're important to me because, one, I like to feel fit. When I feel fit, then I know I feel good and my mind feels good. But more importantly, longevity. I talked about death. I talked about how it sets me right. So every time I'm working out, I'm cheating death. Every time I eat right, I juice, I do the things I need to do for my health, I'm cheating death. When I do that, it keeps me focused, keeps my vibe high, and keeps me centered on where I want to go. And so these are the things I do. Same thing in business. Why do I focus on my business and do the things that I need to do to really help keep it moving forward and growing to the levels of where I want it to get to? Same thing. My business is my lifeline to help me. It's like a reward. The more I do in my business and the more impact I have, the more rewards that come to me. I don't do it for the rewards. I mean, well, I do actually, to be honest. It's not money. Money does help, but it's also, the fulfillment I get from it, the inspiration to do more, how it makes me feel good. I'm a very result-oriented person, so I love being a person who can help transform people's lives in one way, shape, or form, whether it be in mindset, coaching, my online classes, as a chiropractor with pediatrics or pregnancy or fertility and those types of things. All those variables play a huge role for me and inspire me to do more and continue to grow more. So those are things that I do, to just some of them, to stay centered and focused. And you can hear it in my voice. I start speaking faster. I get a little more excited because that's important to me. And so I always reset back to that. And one of the things I've shared, and here's a bonus tip, is have something that's an anchor to you. Have something that you have with you, maybe on your wrist, something you can remember, but it's an anchor. It always gets you back to being centered. And that way you won't end up going deep into these ruts. Because when you remember the anchor of why you do what you do, if you remember the purpose of your existence from that level, it will kind of keep you on the up for the most part. There's going to come down moments still. I'm just being and I hope they don't, but they're going to show up. But the thing is the more that you can get into the anchors, understand your why, understand your vision, be clear on it. Okay. Those two things. Just don't stop doing the things that matter most for you. Okay. So once you're back in a rut, it's kind of like, I haven't been sleeping well for a month. Okay. Let's make a commitment. You're going back to sleeping well. That's it. What do you need at sleeping well that means to you that you've noticed you've gotten the best results? Let's get back to doing that, right? Getting back to the basics, get back to the foundation, and it really will help to give you that reset. So I'm sharing a lot of different things because there's a lot of variables on how this can help you to a certain degree. It's not like a cookie cutter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm trying to give you little bits of information and little pieces that can really help you with that. So when you get into these ruts, when these things types to happen, okay, get back to the vision, because distractions are going to pull you away. Get back to the vision, get back to the clarity, get back to the why, get back to the reason why you do what you do. Business, marriage, financials, health, all that. Develop a plan and commit to it. And stay on the road, because the more you energize yourself, the more you focus on that, the more you transform your life. And the more you show up to being the better version of you, the better your vibe gets higher, the better you'll create alignment and so much more. Okay. And then from there, stay committed to it, right? Stay committed to it. Because if you don't, that's when you open the door for allowing this to happen. And the funny thing about ruts, they come when you least expect it. They start sneaking in little at a time. And the moment you know you're in a rut, that's when it's already been going on for quite a period of time. That's when it's going to shift the vibes. So let me know what you think about this. This is what I got for you guys today. I know I've been a little all over the place. Might have been because I had too much caffeine today, which I don't normally drink a lot of coffee. Had a nice cup this morning. But the whole thing is that it's really allowing you to reset, play around with these, and let me know how this works out for you. Because even my dog, if you just heard him, he even agrees with it all. So as always, I appreciate you guys. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling.